What is going on, everybody? Back at it again with another YouTube video, and today we're going to be talking about how realistic of a chance is it that the 76ers can win an NBA title this season. Now, before I get into all that, just wanted to say thank you guys for the continuous support over the last couple months on my channel. Obviously, we know that it has been a pretty rough time without any sports for the time being. We do know now that the NBA and the NHL and probably the MLB will eventually be returning at some point. And when that does happen, I just want to let you guys know that we are going to take off as a channel. We are going to take off as a community. You know, me and RB have some things planned up for the future. You know, I'm live streaming every Sunday. I'm going to try and post a video every single day until I hit 1K. And, you know, we are at 514 subs, so make sure you guys smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and now we are going to get into how realistic of a chance that the Sixers have to win an NBA title this season. Now, before quarantine, the Sixers were struggling a little bit. You know, you had Brett Brown not really figuring out what he was doing. You had Al Horford and Joel Embiid not really clicking. You had Ben Simmons injured. Josh Richardson was kind of banged up. You had a bunch of different lineups. It was just a mess. And I think that this quarantine, this break, could honestly have been a blessing in disguise for some reasons that I'm about to explain. The Sixers were 39-26 at the break. They just got done playing the Pistons. They beat them. Al Horford had 20 points. Joel Embiid had like 30 points, 32 points. And it was like really the first game that they really clicked together as a big man duo. And as we all know, Ben Simmons did not play in that game. Now, later that week, we were supposed to play the Indiana Pacers that Saturday in the Wells Fargo Center. We now play them when the season does return. That's our first game. And you know, we're tied for fifth. They do own the tiebreaker, so they hold the fifth seed. We hold the sixth seed. But I really just want to say that this honestly could have been a very big blessing in disguise that we might not even know about. You get Ben Simmons back fully healthy. You get Joel Embiid back, who has said that he has been, you know, training every day, 6 days a week to get back into basketball NBA shape. You see Ben Simmons all over Instagram posting pictures, taking jump shots. You know, I think that the Sixers could seriously make a run in this year's playoffs. And I will get to my predictions later on in this video. But I think that really we have the talent to win a title. I honestly believe that. You look at the starting five with the opening day starting five with Ben, Richardson, Tobias, Horford, and Embiid. I don't see that being the case and being the starting lineup when the season returns. I do see Al Horford coming off the bench and maybe a guy like Shake Milton, Glenn Robinson, or Alec Burks starting in the place of Al Horford, not at his position, but in the lineup. Now, like I said already, the Pacers and the Sixers are tied for fifth, but yet again, the Pacers do own the tiebreaker. We are also 2 games behind Miami in fourth and 4.5 games behind Boston in third. Now, I have the remaining schedules here from the Pacers, Celtics, and Heat because those are like the 3 realistic teams that I can see us overtaking in the standings. Now, I don't think we end up in the 3rd seed. I don't even know if we end up in the 4th seed, but I do think we should be able to beat the Pacers out for at least the 5th seed, if not beat the Heat out for the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference. The Pacers' schedule is the Philadelphia 76ers, Miami Heat, Phoenix Suns, Orlando Magic, Houston Rockets, Sacramento Kings, the Clippers, and the Lakers. Now, that is a pretty tough schedule if you ask me, but there is always, are they going to play? Are they going to play LeBron James and Anthony Davis when they already solidified that number 1 spot in the West? Are they going to play Kawhi Leonard and Paul George when they already solidified that number 2 spot in the West? You know, these are questions that, are they going to play because they need to get back into NBA shape, in the game form for the playoffs, or are they going to rest them up for the playoffs? As we know that the NBA and NBA teams have been doing for a very long time at this point in the NBA's history. If you solidify the first place spot, a lot of times that you just rest your star players, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, but for the Sixers' sake, I hope that the Clippers and Lakers are battling it out for that number one seed, and I hope that every game matters so that the Pacers can lose a couple games that we need them to lose. Now, the Heat's remaining schedule: Milwaukee, Indiana, OKC, Denver, Phoenix, Boston, Toronto, LA Lakers, or the Portland Trailblazers. I don't really know how that works, but they also have a pretty tough schedule, and they do play each other. The Pacers and the Heat, they do play each other. And to be honest, I'd rather play the Miami Heat in the first round rather than the Celtics or the Pacers. I feel like we would just be able to beat the Miami Heat. I know that they have shooters, and I know they have beaten us in the season 3 times, I think. 2 or 3 times, I'm pretty sure that they beat us. But I just feel like we would have a better time playing the Heat than playing the Pacers, and especially the Celtics in the first round of the playoffs. That's how I think of it. I'm going to be doing videos about every scenario for a first round matchup or for a second round matchup or a playoff matchup between the top teams in the East and maybe a couple teams out West, and see if I think that we could beat them. Those are going to be videos that I put out next week. Again, I am live streaming tomorrow at 7:30, 8 o'clock, sometime around there. I'll put it up tomorrow, and, make sure to pop out to that. We always do some fire takes on the Sixers. It's probably going to be more of a Sixers stream tomorrow, but you can come in, talk any Philadelphia sports you want. I am also upgrading my streaming software, so it will be a lot better. I will be able to bring some people on every now and then. Maybe me and RB can do a collab and other guys like that. But to get back into the video, the Celtics' remaining schedule is the Milwaukee Bucks, Washington Wizards, Toronto Raptors, Brooklyn Nets, Washington Wizards, Portland Trailblazers, Grizzlies, and the Heat. Now, of these 3 teams that I said, I do feel like the Celtics have the easiest schedule out of these 3 teams. The reason why I think that is because you look at the Pacers. They play both LA teams. They play Houston, and they play us and the Heat. I can see them losing to the Clippers, Lakers, Rockets, Heat, and Sixers. I can see that. Same thing with the Heat. I can see them losing to the Bucks, the Pacers, the Thunder, the Nuggets, the Raptors, the Lakers. I can see them losing those games. Boston, I find it hard to believe, or I would find it hard to see them losing to Washington, Brooklyn, Washington again, Portland, Memphis, and even Miami. I would just find it a little hard. It's hard for me to think that the Celtics would lose to much easier opponents than the Rockets, than the Nuggets, than the Bucks, the Lakers. Their hardest game is obviously against Milwaukee, but other than that, the Raptors can give them some trouble, maybe the Heat. But other than that, I really can't see them struggling too much with this 8-game schedule that they are playing before the season starts back up, or before the playoffs start back up. So, how far do the Sixers realistically have a chance? That's the question. Do I think that they can win a title? I think anybody can win a title. I think there's going to be sleeper teams making it further in the playoffs than they would if the season continued throughout. I think that again, I said it in this video already, I think it could have been a blessing in disguise to see that the Sixers had a break to get down with Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, them to work out. Maybe Brett Brown has some coaching schemes and stuff like that. I just see the Sixers really making it a legit shot to make it, because before the season even started, people had the Sixers in the title, in the championship game. They had them winning the championship. So why can't they now? They have the same team. And that's where it comes down to seeding. But at the same time, now with no home court, it really doesn't. You know what I mean? Like, it really doesn't come down to seeding as much as it would if there were still fans in the stands. You know, you could be a 6 seed playing a 3 seed. Now it's just you against the other team. Now it's just who's better. They have no home court advantage. It's just who's better at that time. Who's making more shots during that game. There's going to be no momentum switch with the fans. There's going to be none of that. So I think the Sixers could realistically make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't see them winning the title this year. I'm just saying that they have a shot, but so does every team in the NBA. But I could see them realistically making it to the Eastern Conference Finals if everybody can stay healthy, and it's going to depend on Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons' health/playing style during this playoffs. So with that being said, that's really it for this video. I really wanted to get my point across on how the Sixers could potentially make it further in the playoffs than everybody thought. A lot of teams are counting them out. I'm not going to be that guy to count out the Sixers. They have a very talented team. They have a very good roster. I think they have a chance to win. Any team has a chance to win. It's about who gets hot at the right time. And if the Sixers can come back out and whoop and just be very good, if they can do that, why can't they win? So with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all for tuning in every single day. Like, comment, and subscribe. We are almost at 520 subs. Let's try to hit that. Posting a video every single day until we hit 1K. Thank you all for watching, and I'm out. Peace.